great makeup work.
And we talk about the fact that I should go up first in his blue, in his Blue Origin spaceship. And he says, that's a good idea. Yeah, there's people around. Yeah, it's a good idea. And we'll call it. So my friend and I leave, and we go back to Los Angeles, and COVID hits. So, excuse me, I'm going to take some water here. I've been talking since 8 o'clock this morning. But first, I got off the microphone. Mic drop. I'm having trouble here. Okay, that's right. So, we go home. We go home. I shut the microphone. I didn't know that would work. So your ass is useful for a variety of things. So we go home, and COVID hits, and a year goes by. We don't hear from anybody. And then I read that Mr. Bezos and his brother and an astronaut, a lady astronaut who didn't go up, and a youth, some adolescent, I don't know where he came from. And the four of them are going to go up. So I said to my friend, well, I guess that's that. And we watch them like everybody else. Goes up and has a successful flight. He comes back, and everybody's enthusiastic. You got coverage, but not great coverage. So a while later, get a phone call. How would you guys like to go second? I'm not going to go second. Like asking for the vice president. I'm the president. And I said, no, I'm not going to do it. So I turned it down. But now, one morning I'm lying in bed, that between sleep and wakefulness where you think of things, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, that's an adventure. Why would I turn it down for ego? So I call up and I say, no, I've changed my mind. I really would like to go. And they say, fine, we'll do it. And eventually they got it all together, and they invite two guys who pay money for it, and a lady, Audrey, and I've forgotten Audrey's last name, who works for Blue Origin, and myself. Those are the four people. And they say, come Monday morning. So I'm there Monday morning, and Bezos has a large ranch in Texas, so large that at one end is a rocket thing, the place where they build and maintain and fire off the rockets. So he's got one of his ranches is in fact a rocket center. So I'm there Monday morning, and there's nobody around. A couple people working in various things, but nobody essentially around. And I think, why am I here? It's early Monday morning, and I've got things to do. And then somebody comes over and says, hey, Bill, let's drive out to the launch pad and take a look at the gantry. And then, oh, okay. Take a look at the gantry. And we get into a Rivian, an electric car that I learned later that Bezos has invested a large sum of money in Rivian. And we drive out to the launch site, and there's this gantry, 11 flights up. And we're at 4,500 feet, I think, was the altitude of the buildings. Something like Denver, which is 5,000 feet. So we're up a mile in the air, and there's 11 flights of gantry. So, oh God, I'll walk up 3 flights of air, 3 flights of the gantry, and I'm sucking air. And let's look at the scenery, and another 3 flights, another. Finally, I make it to the top. I'm there. And then I look over there, and about the size of, from the window to here, to here, to here. There's a building, little hut, but the door is open, the airlock door is open, which is about 12 inches thick. And the whole building, the whole little building, is 12 inches thick, cement. I walk down, what? And I see air canisters and electrical things. What's that? They said, oh, that's just the safety room. Safety room? Why do you need a safety room? No, well, in case something goes wrong. What could go wrong? So I go to the edge of the thing, and I look down, okay, and then I make my way down from the gantry, back in the car, and get back to the deserted place where everybody's going to gather tomorrow. And I'm thinking, why am I? They wanted to see if the old guy could make it up 11 flights. I don't know if he didn't have an elevator or something. No, he had to walk up. So I made it up there, I passed the inspection, and now the next 3 days, from Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, is practicing. So the spaceship is, I don't know, 10 feet in diameter, and there's 4 seats that are almost horizontal, like you're almost stretched out, in order to absorb the G rating, the G forces that are going to hit you. G forces, gravitational force, really? Yeah, no, you know, so you got to get in there, and it's a 5-point harness over your shoulders, around your waist, and through your crotch. And that's the 5-point harness. Now, I've raced a lot of cars with a 5-point harness, and it's easy enough. Put it together, and then you got a central thing here, and you, those things don't hurt me. Bad words hurt me, but and you slap the thing, and it breaks open, and you escape the burning car, or in this case, you get out of the spaceship quickly. So it's a 5-point harness, and they said practice putting on a 5-point harness, and you're like this. So you get the shoulders on pretty well, and the waist is no problem, but the crotch strap. Can't find the hole. I never was able to find the hole. Audrey helped me on occasion, but... So, because if you're not strapped in, and you're like floating because of weightlessness, nobody understands. 600 and some people understand weightlessness. There's no word. There aren't any words in the vocabulary to describe weightlessness because it just happened. For example, what do you call people who study language?
Linguist.
Language studier? No.
Linguist.
Linguist. No, not linguist. That's the study of words. A philologist. I really meant the people who study language for anthropology, like where did the language come from, where did it start? So they discovered that the word for horse, in whatever language it was, but it wasn't obviously English or Latin, but the word for horse entered the vocabulary about 10,000 years ago. And so with that discovery, and the discovery of bones and the geographical anthropology, they now know that the horse entered civilization, our civilization, about 10,000 years ago. So that's because of looking into the anthropology of language, I guess. So there are no words for weightlessness. So how do you describe weightlessness? The astronauts practice in a swimming pool, but that doesn't cover it at all. It's the weirdest thing. So before I get to it, let me go to the countdown. So we all get in the spaceship and start the countdown. And liftoff, L minus 20, 19, L minus 8, hold it, There's an anomaly. What the hell is anomaly? What does anomaly mean and why is it there? Anomaly means it doesn't belong there. An anomaly, well, fix the anomaly or continue the countdown. Oh, good. 17, 14, 13, 12. All right, everybody, we're going to remove the gantry, and this is the God's truth. He says, anybody who wants to get off should get off now. And I think, okay. And then I think, I can't go, I'm Captain Kirk. So I stay, and we go up, and the G-forces on my chest, you know, they talk about an elephant sitting on your chest. I don't know whether anybody's ever recovered from an elephant sitting on their chest to say, that felt like an elephant sitting on my chest. But in your imagination, that's what it felt like. And not only that, you don't know when it's going to end. It's not like, oh, it got an 8, oh, it's gone. It's hanging there, and you think, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I'm gonna die. And it lifts. And you're over the Kármán line. You're beyond the immediate, I don't know how much of gravity you're beyond, because gravity goes out into space, but you're over gravitational forces, and you're beyond what is called the Kármán line. And now we're beyond the Kármán line. Suddenly, they say, okay, you can release, and I see everybody releasing, and I've had the thing, and I'm floating. I mean, there's no volition on my part. I'm floating in the air. Now, I had seen footage of Jeff Bezos floating, okay? Because they have cameras all over you can imagine cameras all over the ship, the little spaceship. And I saw Jeff Bezos. What is he, the third richest man in the world? And he's floating on his tummy, and his legs are like pointing where you are, and you're a camera. His legs are pointing where, and he's floating. And the kid, the adolescent, is throwing candies at his asshole. That's not how I want to spend my 7 minutes in space. So the others are celebrating being in space. I crawl over to my window, big window, and I look out, and I see the blackness of space. Now, I've spent a lot of time with Neil deGrasse Tyson and scientists and telescopes. And you can imagine NASA and JPL. I've sort of been there hovering. I'm Captain Kirk. Oh, who's Captain Kirk? You must know. I know nothing. But I'm willing to learn. And so the magic of the universe, I'm aware of the magic. I'm aware of the awe and the mystery of space. What's another word for fulminating? I thought about that last night. What's another word for fulminating? Okay, I'll look that up later. Space is fulminating. It's constantly changing, it's exploding, it's grinding, it deathly rays, so black holes are sucking in. It's dangerous. Danger doesn't even begin. It is a maelstrom, well, there's a good word, of energy burning and changing and flowing. And it lights up. And there's billions of galaxies, which in the galaxies have billions and billions of suns, stars. And around the stars are billions and billions of planets hovering where the star was made. So you put all those billions together, you get an uncountable number of objects in the universe. They can't be counted. Beyond the trillions and trillions of trillions, there's all this space magic out there. And I'm looking. I'm 50, 60 miles above the surface of the earth, and I'm looking. And what I'm seeing is black. I'm seeing black. I don't see sun and moon or stars or galaxies. I don't see anything that brings me close. I see black. And I know that out there, it's what, 385 degrees below zero, something like that. You're instantly frozen. You're frozen meat if you're there. It's death. It's your death. And that black is your death. It's death. There. And I looked back and I saw Earth, and I saw the Texas beige desert, and I saw the white clouds and the blue sky and all those friendly colors. Nothing of it was black. It was all beautiful, harmonious, livable colors. It's our Earth. It's the place we live. And I looked, and something struck me that I didn't recognize until I was back on the ground. I'm not current now, but I used to be a pilot. So you learn 12,500 feet, you need additional oxygen. Why do you need additional oxygen? Because you can't breathe anything that'll keep you alive above 12,500 feet, 2 miles. 2 miles of oxygen, right? The Earth has, the rocks have been eroded over 5 billion years, and there's a handful of dirt that will grow crops that will feed us. A handful of dirt everywhere. Some places don't have it, some places have a little bit more, but there's a handful of dirt, 6 inches of dirt, of arable dirt. 2 miles, 6 inches. And I'm looking at our planet. And I've been an ecologist. I read Rachel Carson's book, The Silent Spring, so many years ago. And I thought, oh my God, this is terrible. And she was writing about the insecticide, the DDT. She was writing about DDT and the way birds would eat the insects that were being poisoned by the DDT, and their shells would be so soft they wouldn't carry the chick to birth. The birds were dying because we were killing the insects that was eating our crops so we could eat. What a dilemma. We had to get rid of DDT, which was the magic the answer to starvation was the DDT, where you could grow crops where insects wouldn't need it. No more locusts. We would kill all the locusts with DDT. It was magic until we learned we were killing ourselves. They had to get rid of DDT. It was the first step in trying to challenge our poisoning of the planet. But we got rid of that, but we have so much more. I mean, plastics. Plastics are maybe they'll be gone in 10,000 years, 5,000 years. But in the immediate future, they're breaking off into microscopic pieces. You can't see them. Fish eat them. We eat the fish. And there's microscopic plastic floating around in each one of our veins. Every one of us has microscopic plastic, and our bodies work on a filtering system, so we must be filtering the plastics. Where is it all going? That, and the United States just withdrew from green, whatever we call it, and nobody's really taking seriously global warming. It's existential, people. It's existential. Your children, your grandchildren are going to be in bad shape if we don't do something about it. So I don't know whether those thoughts were in my mind. We came back down to Earth. But I stepped out of the spaceship and I was weeping uncontrollably. Weeping. And Bezos comes out and says, Bill, and I said, thank you. I thanked him and somehow. And I had to go sit down someplace and think about why, with all these cameras, I'm an actor. I shouldn't be. I'm bawling. Why? And then it occurs to me that I'm in grief for our planet. I'm in grief for the beauty. Look out there. Everything is beautiful. Lake Champlain, Lake George, among the most beautiful places on Earth. And we were talking this morning about ice on Lake George and people skating and people having sailboats with skates on them and the joy of winter. was it last summer that didn't freeze over? Usually it's feet thick, didn't freeze over either last summer or the summer before. So global warming is happening. No, there's no question, there's no getting around it. What we can't get around, what we shouldn't get around, is our ability to deal with it. Now, there are futuristic projects. Some of you, I guess many of you were in the exhibit, the Star Trek exhibit with me. We talked a bit about the future, and I did an interview show for a couple of years, really, where I interviewed people, and I got to talk to a Nobel Prize winner, and I said, I've forgotten his name, George Dick. Why isn't there a Manhattan Project going on about global warming? Why aren't all the scientists who started working on the atomic bomb, why aren't they all working together to solve the problem, getting carbon dioxide out of the air, getting the plastic? There are bugs that eat plastic. The solution, I think, is in our hands. There are ways of getting rid of carbon dioxide. There's a company in Norway that takes carbon dioxide, makes it into a rock, and buries it into the ground, into the rock in the ground. We have the technical ability right now to do something about it. We're not doing it in enough haste. So that's the impression, that's the feeling I had when I left the spaceship. I was in grief for our planet, and so should you all be. Good. Now that I've made you all laugh, here's the beard. So stand up, and I got it. Oh, there you go.
Thank you. Which movie was the toughest one for you guys to do?
What movie, what?
Which of the 6 movies were the toughest for you guys to do? Which one took you the...
Star Trek 5. Well, it was the best movie made. Star Trek 5 started with a premise of Star Trek goes in search of God. What an idea. Okay? So I had been reading, maybe one of you can help me with the name of the author. I had been reading an author with 3 names. You know, Neil deGrasse Tyson, some author who wrote about an American in Tokyo, a guy out of water, a fish out of water. Can any of you think a while ago, a guy with 3 names? Okay, doesn't matter. I read him, I admired him, and I said to the studio, let me try and get that guy. Oh, great, a best-selling author. So I called him, and I went to New York and visited with him. We walked the streets of New York, and we were talking about Star Trek goes in search of God. And what they find is not God, but they find the devil. And the devil, instills hatred and animosity in the 3 of us. And finally, he captures DeForest Kelly, Dr. McCoy, and then Spock and Kirk have to go rescue him by the river Styx and get him out of the hell and run to the space. I mean, it was all sort of really basic, wonderful drama. And great, this is wonderful. I had a great idea. I never felt so strongly about doing it. Until somebody, and I think it was Roddenberry, said, yeah, it's a good idea. Whose God? Which God is it? Oh, it's God. No. Every religion has their own God. Who's God? Because if you choose one popular religion, Christianity, there's 1 billion people in Christianity. There are 8 billion people who are potential customers to this movie. That means you're cutting out 7 billion people who say, that's not God, that's it. And that was the dilemma everybody had faced when they used the word God in a drama. Who's God now? I was then thrust into a dilemma, which we all face every day, even right here now, which is, when do you stand on principle, and when do you be politic enough to compromise? I have a mantelpiece on in my house over the fireplace, mantelpiece, and I've been up to the North Pole, near the North Pole, among the Inuit, the Eskimos, who make this beautiful artwork, carvings. I don't know whether you've seen Eskimo art, but it's really modern art in a way. And I bought a beautiful piece of a dancing bear. I had seen a bear dancing. I was with a guide, and we were walking over a hill near a river, and way on the other side of the river, something brown was coming our way. And it was a bear. I watched this bear run about 300-400 yards over there and enter into the stream, which I was on the shore of the stream, and the bear was in the water, dancing, having the best time, whooping it up and having the best time in the water. And this Eskimo artist caught the dancing bear. And I put this dancing bear on the mantelpiece. And I said to my wife, Elizabeth, look at that big, wide mantelpiece and this bear by itself, singular, beautiful, majestic. My wife said, yeah, and I've got 2 candelabras, which will look great. I said, no, Liz, the bear, but she said, no, Bill, 2 candelabras. What do? You can't have both. You have one or the other. Do you stand on principle, get a divorce? Or do you compromise and hate your wife for the rest of your life? So there are 2 candelabras on the So really the lesson of that I learned in Star Trek V, I didn't make the movie I wanted to make. I ran out of money. The producer who was supposed to help me didn't help me, and there were a lot of forces against my making the movie I wanted to make. So it's imperfect, but it stands as a relic of things to be learned, and it's entertaining enough. Okay, wait a minute, down in here? Yes, sir, right there. That's awfully quick. You got there very quickly. Oh my God, how did you do that?
I don't really have a question. I just.
Is it a statement that
yes,
is
very quickly.
Is it a?
It's a thank you.
Oh, please.
It's a thank you.
What are you thanking me about?
So I grew up on the original series, watched all the stuff you've done, how I envision friendship, how I treat colleagues.
Wow.
Is really no joke, based on watching the original series as a child.
Wow.
And trying to do things the right way and treat people the right way.
Right.
So it was important, and I want to say thanks.
Oh my God. Great shape. Wait, there's a microphone coming. Right into the mic, right in.
All right, so you look great, and you're very active, you keep doing stuff like this, and we all appreciate it as fans. I want to know, like, what keeps you motivated, what helps you get out of bed every morning?
What did you say, what keeps me?
What keeps you motivated, and what keeps you getting out of bed every morning and keep you young?
Yeah. I tell you, I've done a lot of things. I had a lot of adventures and life-changing things like that. One of which I've just told you. But the thing that thrills me the most, things that raise the hair on my arms, autonomic reaction to gaining knowledge. The acquisition of knowledge absolutely thrills me. To learn something I didn't know, and And I recently, when I came back from the South Pole, and some of you heard me speak about it when we were on the set there. When I came back from the South Pole, and I heard the legends of the South Pole explorers, I started to write a speech, thinking, hey, maybe somebody wants me to give a talk, and this is my talk. My talk will be about the magic of exploration. Why do human beings explore? Why did we climb down the tree? Why did we leave Africa? An interesting fact about curiosity and exploration. So mankind is living in the rift, the big crevasse in Africa, where Lucy was discovered. And that's where mankind sort of flourished and adjusted to the African sun. I recently was in Hawaii under an umbrella, except my legs. And I have burned my legs worse because I didn't shave, and my white skin burned terribly. It's healing now, but boy. So, like any other animal, adjusting to the changing, the earth is dynamic. The currents of the water, the currents of the air, the rain, the beating of the ocean, all combine, and tectonic plates, which we didn't know about, and motion beneath the tectonic plates. Everything is in flux. The earth is dynamic in every sense of the word. It's constantly changing. And those changes eventually result in changes in weather and atmosphere and geology. I mean, everything changes. And nature adjusts to those changes. So the Sahara Desert, which was once a flourishing forest, the current in the Atlantic Ocean changes for some reason, and there's no rainfall in that part of Africa, becomes the Sahara Desert. It was once, at the time of the pyramids, a desert. They got all their wood from there. They had the rollers. It was a place that was inhabited, and as it grew drier and drier, everybody moved to the Nile River, and then Egypt became a flourishing civilization. So the accidents of mankind are eventually a result of adjusting to the the dynamic changes on Earth. So the something changes in Africa, which forces the African-born humans to leave. And in leaving, going north or going south to New Zealand and Australia, or going north eventually to the Arctic and becoming Eskimos, and physically they changed as well. So the dark skin, the melanin that that humans needed to protect them from the vitamin D from the terrible sun and the sunburn I had, my white skin, when they go further and they would go further north, physically they change. They adjust to the changing conditions. So they don't need as much melanin, so they become white skin. They don't need this nose, they need a longer nose to warm the air before it hits the brain. And so there's certain physical adjustments they make. They're still the same human being, but like everything else in nature, I'm going to go to the Galapagos Islands in a few months, and you know about the birds. There's a bird with a short bill, there's a bird with a long bill. And the bird with the long bill gets food that the short bill doesn't, and the short bill, it's just, nature is changing. Racism is ridiculous. It's just the changing, it's the adjustment by nature to nature. And it happens everywhere. It happens, global warming is changing the earth. But the earth has changed many times before. There was an ice age. It was called a snowball. It was totally covered in ice. And there were times when there was no ice at all. It's a dynamic that happens all the time, but so slowly that nobody noticed. And the changes happened, and the trees climbed to higher heights when it was too hot, and came down when it was too cold. But those adjustments done over thousands of years were not noticed. But all of a sudden, because of our industries, we're changing the pace of change. So I then come home and start writing a speech about why exploration. Why are we exploring? And I thought, exploration geological, exploration spiritual. I mean, mankind, there are caves, possibly because the water has risen and the entrance to the cave now doesn't exist the way it did in prehistoric man. But somewhere along the line, prehistoric man have gone into caves, especially the ones I know in Scotland. The entrance to the cave is underwater, so the cave is totally black. And they must have gotten in somehow with torches and drew images of the animals around them on the cave walls. And those images became kind of a holy thing. They had put down on rock and chalk the animals that they thought were great. They ate them, and they lived with them, and they supplied life to the human beings. So in a way, they worshipped them, and they gave them a spirit. And they began then to give a spirit to everything around, the water, the sky, the lightning storms. And everybody has everything, everybody has a spirit, animism, basic worship of my God. There's something going on here. Why is that lightning striking there? And why does it cause a fire? And what is a fire? And why am I dying? And what happens when I die? Why my daddy's dead? Where did daddy go? All those questions that mankind has been asking since the brain developed enough to think of those things. All of those questions have been asked, and we've explored some of the answers. So, animism became monotheism, which may have been, what's his name? Well, Abraham, but the Indian, oh God, my memory, I'm tired. No, Zoroaster might have been the one who thought, hey, wait a minute, all these different spirits are one spirit. So monotheism came into it, and then all the variations of the monotheism. And the exploration there. Did he rise from the dead? Did he come from up there? Did he come from... So all the things that mankind could think of in his imagination became somebody's reality. Then there was the geological exploration. We know that everywhere, every crevice in the planet has been explored. And now, and I kept saying to Neil deGrasse Tyson when we were on stage, why are we going to Mars? And he said, well, we're going to Mars because, and he would have an educated answer. But the question really is, why are we going to Mars? Well, we're going to Mars because the way President Kennedy said we're going to the moon because it enhanced our knowledge. And having gone to the moon and having been to the moon many times now, we're going to build a base there and live and explore the parts of the universe we couldn't get to because of the gravity of Earth. So, why are we going to Mars? It's inane to think we're going to put millions, thousands, even hundreds of people to live on Mars. But what's not inane is we've already sent machines. Eventually, somebody, foolish person, or three, get in a spaceship and brave the meteorites and the radiation and the lack of water and food that we think of on Mars. They may be able to grow something. There are volcanic tunnels that flowing lava have made into tunnels, and early mankind lived in those tunnels. So the expectation is there was lava flowing on Mars. Maybe there are tunnels that the future astronauts can live in, and there may be water embedded in the Earth, especially in North Poles, as we think there's water on the moon, where the sun hasn't melted it. There's apparently ice there, and that will keep our astronauts alive and fuel our rockets because around the corner is hydrogen power made from water and electricity, but green electricity got from the wind and the action of the sea, and green electricity breaking down water into oxygen and nitrogen, and those gases being used to fuel our car engines. So right around the corner, if we can exist another 50 years, science is coming to our help. Science is going to make it. Science, which brought us to this end, it will be our savior. It's ironic that rampaging was science because we didn't know any better, and so we polluted the earth because we didn't realize. Did you read that article about Tacoma and the smelting of lead? And the lead has arsenic in it, so the smoke had arsenic in it and polluted the whole of Tacoma. And they've discovered 3 serial killers have come out of the Tacoma era. What's his name?
Bundy.
Bundy is one of them, and there are 2 others. People imbibing arsenic, the brains go, and many, many deaths. And as a result of that pollution, that follows for every pollution. So we're riding to the rescue is science in the next few years. We just got to give it a chance. Yes, John? John. What? No, get the microphone, John.
Oh, thank you, James. So in about 2 years, the Pentagon's going to do a very...
Wait a minute. Closer to the mic.
In about 2 years, the Pentagon's going to do a surveying mission in low lunar orbit to get all the deposits of ice and water.
You're muttering. A little, enunciate a little clearer. I don't know about you guys, but I can't quite understand.
The Pentagon will do a surveying mission on the moon within 2 years to find all the water.
They will find all the water?
They're going to
But
be
it's a survey.
very
Never found it.
very low lunar orbit with sensors. I can't talk about what kind. And
You think there's water there?
there's a lot of waters there.
There's a lot of water in the form of ice?
Correct.
The sun hasn't shone.
Correct, and they're going to have. They have about 100 submissions, of which they're going to choose 5 to do something for 6 months. They'll narrow it to 2 or 3 for a year and a half, and then at the end they'll give it to 1 to go to the moon and do that mission.
This man is in the business of working on getting us to the moon, so he knows. So that's the promise of science today. How am I doing?
We're just about wrapping up here.
You know the way I got an inner clock, honest to God, I wake up 5 minutes before the alarm, even though I set it for 2:30 on Friday morning. Hello, my dear.
Hello, Mr. Shatner. Closer? Sorry. So,
You're not sorry. How could you be sorry when you didn't know?
okay.
Inadvertently, you didn't speak into the microphone.
I'm not used to this like you are.
Of course you are.
So, there's no getting around that Star Trek is your legacy. Captain Kirk is your legacy. But what else do you want us to think of when we think of
Well, here's what I
Shatner?
think about legacy. Legacy is a fool's errand. There's no such thing as legacy. I mean, I hate to say this, but to this prejudiced audience, but Spock is like, Leonard's been dead, what, how long, 10 years? So, Spock, Leonard. This major figure in our culture is already eroding. Another 10 years, the kids will say, who? The guy with the ears, that was ridiculous. There's no such thing as legacies. The greatest statues, the pyramids, the things that mankind. I ask the question, why do these guys like Magellan go exploring? Why? And the reason I come up with is long life, the being around for history. So the Straits of Magellan, holy cats, there was this guy named Magellan. So these explorers go find places where nobody's been and says, okay, my name is Smith and this is Smith's Gold. I think those explorers were after, what's the word I want? Mortality. They were after more immortality. I think that's the reason these incredibly brave, foolish men risk their lives and eventually die because they're on the edge. There isn't risk, there isn't new things to be found where everybody is. It's where nobody is. It's climbing the mountain. I'm going to do it without ropes. Oh, I got the thrill out of that. Now I'm going to climb faster and steeper. Now I'm going to climb faster and steeper, faster as well. I'm falling. That's the end. They're chasing the adrenaline thrill. And that's what these explorers, in my mind, are doing. They've got another engine in their brain that doesn't belong to the rest of us. That's what I think these explorers were doing, looking for immortality. Yeah.
Bill?
Yes.
Bill.
I gotta go. I don't
Yes, but
Yes.
59 years ago, you signed on to a TV show.
Wait a minute. 59 years ago,
You signed on to
I signed on to a show.
to appear into this
Yeah.
television show. Next year's the 60th anniversary.
I know. We're going to celebrate here. This is our
Like you
place.
would believe.
This is our fountain.
Except I'm trying to get you to understand that in another 50 years, the only science fiction show that people are going to remember is the one that you did 59 years ago. That sort of is the point.
Well, I don't encompass that. But my point is, there's no such thing as legacy. It's all fleeting. We all die. We become dust.
Your legacy
Wait a minute.
is your children.
Wait a minute.
Your legacy is your children and their children and their children and their
There you
children.
go.
That's your legacy.
That's your legacy. That's exactly right. And if you don't have children, your legacy is I'll tell you what your legacy is. And it's something I live by. And that is your good deeds are your legacy. Because they're reverberant. And helping an old lady across the street reverberates to the old lady who wants you passionately.
Ladies and gentlemen, William Shatner.